This is a guide for making mods for Downshot VR. Mods are not out yet in the full version, but if you're on the beta testing branch, then you can develop and test mods. To start off, make sure that you have Unreal Engine 5.3.2 installed, and this is what you're going to be using for making the mods. It has to be the same version that Downshot is made in. Next, you're going to need Visual Studio Community Edition. I have version 17.6.5, and I know that works, but other versions might work as well. Make sure that you have .NET Desktop Development, Game Development C++, along with these individual components installed. And you're also going to need Android Studio Flamingo 2022.2.1 patch 2. For SDK Manager, make sure that you have Android 12L, Android 10. For the SDK build tools, to be safe, get 34, 33.0.1, 32, and you probably don't need the rest of these, but if you get errors, you could also try installing these. For NDK, all you need is 5.1.8937 and so on. SDK command line tools, get the latest one and get 8. CMake, get 3.22.1 and 3.10.2, so on. Also, Android SDK platform tools. After that, go to Edit, and make sure that you have it installed. If you haven't done it before, click Next a few times and ensure that it's installed. If you're coming from old versions of Unreal Engine that also had Android Studio set up, you might need to change your Java home variables and stuff, but if not, you should be good. After that, go to your Unreal Engine install directory, go to Engine, Extras, Android, and then run this batch file. And mine was already set up, but if you haven't done this before, you'll probably need to, it might take a couple seconds to run. If you haven't already, download the dsvr mod template. Now that you have the template unzipped, make sure it's running with Unreal Engine 5.3.2. You can check that right here, and then open it up. Alright, so now that we're in the template, there's a couple settings that you have to make sure you have set. Go to Settings, then Platforms, then Android SDK. Make sure that the last two say Latest and Android-25. The other three were already set with the batch file. And for all the other settings like rendering, physics, and everything else, that's preset in the config file. That way it matches with Downshot. So you're good there and don't need to change anything. In fact, changing anything will break the mod, so make sure to leave all of this the way it is. So the first thing that you should do is rename your mod content folder to something unique to your mod and non-generic, and this is going to be the name of your mod. And you can just delete the old reference folder. All the content is in the new one. So make sure that your mod data asset still references your primary level, and if you ever add a new level or change the level, make sure that this is the reference to it. Make sure that all of your assets that your mod uses, like textures, meshes, sounds, particles, anything else, that it's inside this folder. It can be in subdirectories and stuff, but it has to be inside your mod content folder. If it's not, then it won't get packaged and stuff will not look right. There is one exception, and that's engine content. For instance, the cube map for this skylight is in the engine content folder, but besides that, it all has to be packaged inside of your mod content folder. So for this example, I'll be importing a texture and then applying that to a plane. So let's add this. And it automatically makes the material and stuff. And I'll build it to bake in the shadow. Unfortunately, there's no documentation yet, but there are a couple things to keep in mind. Any maps should be directly within the maps folder, no subdirectories, but just right here. And like I mentioned earlier, you should reference them within the mod data asset. Any blueprint actors should be inside BP classes. Anything that you don't want spawnable, just put in private. Anything that you do want spawnable, if you only want it spawnable when people are inside your mod like levels, put it in the local. If you want it to be spawnable at any time, regardless of if they're in one of your levels or a different mod or even a base game level, put it in global. Although global will probably be moderated and like not allowed in public lobbies and stuff. So, for example, in local, there's the color bouncy ball. So when you open that up, you can see at begin play, it will create a dynamic material and then set it to one of 4 random colors. Also, the actor has the rep tag, which means that it is movement and rotation, that kind of stuff is replicated. Also, if you do replicate, make sure that you have replicates enabled. If you want something to be like grabbable by the VR character, give it the tag grab. Same for stab, that's another one. You could do stab to make something stabbable, but I'll leave that out for now. To apply damage to the player, you can just send damage via the built-in damage interface. So when this is touched, it's handled in the level blueprint. So when that cube is touched, it will do this once, then a delay and it can do it again. It will just apply damage using the default function, and the get player pawn of 0 means that it's going to be the local player pawn that's the person playing the game on that device. So when the person touches that cube, it will inflict 25 damage to them, and they have 100 total, so it's like a 4-shot. So when you're ready to package, go to platforms. I'll do Windows first. Just select your build location, let it package. Now that Windows is done, you can get the pack file in Windows, the dsvr mod template, content, packs, and then not pack chunk 0, but pack chunk 999. That's your mod pack chunk. And this step is very important. So remember what you named your mod content folder. That's the name of your mod. In this case, it's video example mod 1 with no spaces. You have to use the exact same name on your mod pack. So now that you did that, just create a zip file. Keep the same name, that's good. Then you should be set for the Windows version. And I'll put that here. Now to package for Android, it can be a little more difficult because of the common SDK issues. But if you have any of those, just Googling them is your best bet at fixing them. Assuming you have it all set up, you can just go to Android, package project, select wherever you want to build it to. Alright, now that it's done for Android, you do not go to the build. So unlike Windows, you don't go to the build location, but instead you go to your project folder. So that's going to be, in my case, this one. Then you go to saved stage builds, Android, dsvr mod template, content packs, and then just like Windows is the pack junk 999. And again, just like Windows, make sure that you name it to your mod name. So and then yeah, just like Windows, compressed a zip file. Next, get signed into Mod.io and go to Downshot VR. Go to Add Mod, name it your mod name. I'll just do the same one. Just give it a quick summer. You can skip all of that. Make sure it's public. This doesn't really matter either. It's not used. Create the mod, then go to media. You can skip that if you want. And now for adding the mod files, you need to do each separate one, the Android and the Windows version. So to start, I did the Android version. I'll do 1.0 and make it the live release. And I'll also add the add the Windows version. Wait. Select Windows for that one. And now the mod should be good. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope this could help with the mod development for Downshot VR. A lot more is coming in the future, and a better video should be out soon, along with written documentation.